All right, so I'm going to be talking about the method of building a foundation. I'm sure for whoever's watching this video, you guys have heard the terms build a foundation. It comes to knowledge when you're building a business or organizing something with people, and I just want to say, like, building a foundation is not the best way to do things, because it can slow you down a lot. Picture this, okay? So you're building a foundation. So take a picture of this. You think of an idea, right? You think of an idea before you start to build your foundation or your organization. So you're thinking of this idea that you have in your mind, right? See, what ends up happening to your idea is it can be lost because look, now that you're finding a foundation or that you found people that are committed or like your idea in the initial start, you can call them your foundation. Your foundation is like the people that you start with, you know what I mean? The people that you have in the beginning of your organizing strategy. And so what happens is that you have people that like your idea, and then what you end up doing with your idea is that you start looking at what they want and what they're interested in to continue to build idea, which in turn can morph your entire idea from what it was in the beginning. You know what I mean? Like, say if my idea is on peace and love, just to say something. So if I find, like, say 100 people that believe in peace and love like me in the beginning, then you can say that I'm gonna start building with them. So as you start going out there and on your journey of building your peace and love organizing idea, you're gonna run into other new people that you're gonna network with, that are gonna have different ideas that will probably affect the way you think of things. And then, so what's gonna happen is, with you being the idea guy, you're gonna see other perceptions of your idea by talking to other people, you know what I mean? And you're going to realize, like, oh, maybe I should do this, maybe I should do that. So, what's going to happen is that maybe you're onto something. But look at this. Once you go back to your strategy of building with your foundation, which is like your core people that you work with, you're going to go back to them and talk about your ideas and work with them. And you're always going to naturally want to go with what they believe because they're your core people or your foundation. A lot of times you're naturally just going to want to do what they agree with. And you guys are going to want to build together. Because remember, these are the people you call your foundation. So pretty much what I'm trying to say is, like, it's kind of slow to do that because now you have an idea that you got from somebody else that's not part of your foundation, and you thought of something new that might work, but now you're going back to your foundation of original people that have your original idea, in the way that you said it. So you're coming back to these people with a changed idea and perception on your idea, and now you're gonna have to explain it to them and see what they think. And then usually when that happens, you end up collaborating with people and their ideas. And then you end up with a new idea that has to do with your idea that you brought to the table, and like now after talking to that other person. And then you got their ideas that talk to you about, what I mean? Now you're talking to people. And so I'm kind of freestyling this video, so that's why I'm kind of like trying to figure out what to say, but I have a general idea of what I'm trying to tell you. You understand? Like, you went out from your foundation, you went out to have a meeting with another person, and you had an aha moment, and you were like, oh my God, like, this is going to work out even better because of what this guy said. And then, your motivation seems to go away as you start going back to doing other things, you know what I mean? And then once you get to this meeting back with your foundational people, you're going to bring it up to them in this way that, you might have seen different now since you're not with that person no more. Now you're back in the environment where your idea was coming from. And so you're going to talk to them and probably come up with a different strategy that they agree with because you're working with them. So I'm just trying to point out how having this core idea of foundational people can be kind of backtracked to your progress, you know, it can backtrack your progress because you're going to go away from building your idea. And remember, if you come from something where you were the idea guy and then you went to go look for a team, don't forget that you're the idea guy, you know what I mean? And you had this vision in the beginning that works, you know, and you know, so stick to that, you know. And if you had a vision and you know you understand that your vision changes as you go, you know, well, be careful with the foundation part too, because you know when you first introduce your piece of your invention or your organizing strategy or your idea, like let's say peace and love, like peace and love on the entire world, you know, that's one way that you look at it in the beginning, and as you go out into the world, that might affect you too. You know, I mean, meeting other people might affect your idea. So I got some advice, you know, try to do things by yourself, you know what I mean? And try to keep your idea. And remember, you're the idea guy. So stick with your idea. And as you continue to meet people that morph your idea into a new idea, you know, be careful with what you're doing, you know what I mean? But it's important this to always pay attention to the people around you and the way they're reacting. But at the same time, I gotta tell you, that's not important because sometimes, since you're the idea guy, maybe you're this genius, you know, that has this idea that nobody else is going to understand, then you know you're going to have moments where nobody's agreeing with you and stuff like that. So, you know, this advice is for people who believe that they have a true idea that they only recognize themselves, you know. Be careful with building a foundation of people that are going to work with you because they don't truly understand what you mean, you know, until because look, you can explain something but until you actually do it, that's when it is what you said, you know what I mean? If it even is what you said, you know what I mean? So it's kind of tricky to do this, you know, so be careful. But what I'm trying to tell you is like, I have another way of doing things, which is kind of loony, you know what I mean? But, and it sounds unorganized, but it's organized to the T because check it out. If I'm a visionary and I have an idea, and I believe it works, and I have experience in places where I know this thing will work, maybe some people are not going to be part of my foundation at all ever because I'll never have this foundation of people. Now listen to this. I'll say if I have this visionary idea that's going to work in the future that only I understand, then it's going to kind of going to be hard to have a foundation of people because nobody's going to understand my idea until I actually do it. So that's why as you're building your idea, be aware of other people and of course work with other people on your idea because to build something by yourself not only takes forever but is a lonely thing to do, and you know you'll be out of the scope of the audience of people and their opinions that will of course you know have to do with your results, you know. So that's why I believe that you know be like be uncommitted, you know what I mean? Don't commit to anybody, you know what I mean? Commit to your idea, but don't commit to anybody. That's very important. Building a foundation has to do with commitment because you're committing to these initial group of people that you found in the beginning. But see, your idea might morph as you go. And then later, you're always going to come back to your foundation to try to stick with them, you know? And your idea might end up different than what it was supposed to be, you know what I mean? So that's why be a lone soldier, you know what I mean? But not too lonely where you're not talking to anybody about it, you know what I mean? Just don't commit to a certain group of people. Have a bunch of people everywhere in different places, you know what I mean? And build with them, you know what I mean? And always come back to build your own project and stuff like that. Build your own thing, have your own map, have your own business plan that's for you, you know, to understand, and then have a business plan for other people to understand, you know what I mean? Because what I'm trying to emphasize here is that some people have a great idea initially and then somehow run into problems where their idea no longer makes sense. That's why, you know, try to stay connected to yourself more than anything and your idea. And anytime you have an idea about your idea, write it down or something so you can come back later and then that can be your foundation is your notes. See, so if you want to have a foundation of a place where you can come back to check on your results, make it your notes, you know what I mean? Take notes and come back to that whenever you're lost or something and brainstorm that, you know? But always keep notes since the beginning so that you can have an image of what your idea was in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end, you know? So that's why building a foundation is kind of uh, in unproductive way of building things. And remember, I'm freestyling this video. That's why I'm kind of trying to find the right things to say. But I hope you get the gist of it, you know what I mean? If you build a foundation, you're pretty much just putting seeds in one place, you know, and then you have to water just that one area. But look, if you plant seeds in more different places, you know what I mean, and have seeds in a bunch of different places, you're gonna be working with different environments, you know, and your plants are gonna end up different, where you can end up with a bunch of different plants that are the same plant instead of just building a bunch of little plants that are from the same place that grow up the same way, you know what I mean? So if you get the gist of that, you can end up with more different ideas all over the place with people from your main idea if you want to go that route. And, just stick to your main idea, which is your core idea. And, stop having a committed committee, you know what I mean, that is for your idea, because remember, it's your idea. Nobody's going to understand it like you, because we envision things like with images and ideas and through our own feelings and our own reactions that we're not truly aware of. That's why when we go out there explaining things to people, we might not explain it the right way, and if we have this committed people of a foundation, we'll come back to them and we'll start believing their ways of thinking about our idea, which can be unproductive, you know what I mean? Because you're comparing your idea to somebody who knows your idea in the beginning places of it, when your idea is probably going to morph as you grow up and go into your idea of building. So that's all I want to say. I know a lot of people understand what building a foundation is, and it's known as the thing to do, by the people, you know what I mean? But I'm telling you, for example, politics, it's all divided, you know what I mean? Like, and it's because there's people that build foundation of people and then try to lead with them throughout the whole race, and they end up having only a certain percent of the votes, you know what I mean? Like, it's always like the Republicans and the Democrats that share the votes, you know what I mean? And so they're not carrying everybody. So I think that with this strategy of being the idea guy and working in different places to translate it to different people, and not having this original people that always flex your ideas into something that they believe and you believe, you know what I mean, is kind of something new that I hope you guys take advantage of, and because I'm gonna do it and I've been doing it, you know what I mean? Like, having my idea of what I have in mind, which is hard to explain because I see a bunch of visions and pictures and, like, just all these sounds that I hear and visions that I have of my idea that are hard to translate. So I kind of keep some of it to myself. I translate some of it to people, and I just work in different places, And if you're worried about not having a set team, that's committed with you and stuff, I can guarantee you that if you're doing what I said the right way, you're going to have people that are interested in working with you, because remember, you're still going to be talking to other people about your idea, and if you can keep them interested, they'll always want to help you out and stuff like that. So go ahead and think about what I said. Remember, the gist of what I said is that if you start building with 10 people and you want to build with them your idea all the way to the end, be careful, because look, having meetings with these 10 people about your idea is going to translate it into something that they think of, that only these 10 people think of, and that you think of, you know what I mean? So if you have the ability to have your own idea and share it with a bunch of different people that you work with, you know what I mean? And you're able to go out on your own, and not commit to these people because your idea morphs and changes, then you'll be able to have the same thing where you can always have 10 people that you can talk to, hopefully, if you're making sense to them, and you'll always have 10 people somewhere, and maybe it's not going to be the same 10 people, but you always have 10 people that you can have meetings with and stuff like that, and all of that. So check it out. Let me know what you think in the comments. What you think, this idea is just something new that came up to me. And I've been a chairman of the board before, and I've organized with people in clubs, and now that I'm organizing my own thing again, I'm realizing these things, and let me know what you think, so because maybe I'm the idea guy or maybe you're the idea guy. So let me know what you think because this is just one of my ideas and I know there's a lot more out there, okay? So peace out and thanks for watching.